What's going on, party people? I hope you've all been wonderful in my absence. Yes, I missed you all probably just as much as you missed me. My name is Drew Dickinson Jr., and this is the 3D. Great D. If you're new to the show, the main topic, as always, is my beloved Manchester United. Well, that's third place Manchester United to be exact. Sunday morning, Manchester United welcomed Crystal Palace to Old Trafford for match week 28. United entered the ball game with 48 points, with a chance to enter the top three with a win and an Aston Villa loss. Under Michael Carrick, the Reds, look, guys, great form, and I expected nothing different at home against a fourth place Crystal Palace. Michael Carrick, he made one change to the starting 11 against Palace on Sunday, and that was replacing Ahmad with the in-form Slovenian Benjamin Šeško, the sudden emergence of form from the Slovenian guys. Look, the emergence of form he has brought, which mostly has come off the bench, has resulted in 6 goals in 8 matches, including one against Palace on Sunday. Again, 6 in 8, which now totals 8 goals on the season. After what was a rocky spell to the start of his campaign, he has really turned it on under Michael Carrick. Speaking of a rocky start, that was the case for Manchester United once again against the Eagles. In the fourth minute, Max Lacroix, he was able to create some space between him and Lenny Yoro at the back post, which resulted in a free header, and the ball just eased into the back of the net. Like I said, Lacroix and Euro were at the back post. Lacroix made it put himself, like I said, in a really good position, but Euro hadn't turned around and looked at the ball. And by the time Euro had turned around and looked at the ball, Lacroix had put himself in an even better position and sent his header back across the opposite side of the goal. And all Lemons could do was just watch it as it, like I said, eased into the back of the net. Crystal Palace, look, they were able to hold that lead until the 57th minute when Matheus Cunha, he was taken down in the box. Look, guys, whether it was malicious, whether it was purposeful, whether it was 100% of breaking the law or the rule, if you will, it didn't matter. You cannot impede with the last player and the goal. That is an automatic red card. And the goal scorer who scored in the fourth minute, Lacroix, he was sent off, and Matheus Cunha was awarded a penalty kick. So, quick recap: the goal scorer from for Crystal Palace in the fourth minute takes down Matheus Cunha in the box, and United were rewarded with two gifts: one, a penalty kick, and two, a red card for Max Lacroix, giving Palace 10 men for the remainder of the ball game. Sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles in the Premier League. And like United last time they were 10 men was against Everton. They were unable to pull it out as far as being gifted the 3 points. They struggled against the 10 men. It didn't seem to spell the same bad news against Crystal Palace because Bruno Fernandes was able to connect from the penalty spot, tying the ball game up 1-1. Like I said, that was around the 57th minute when that ball hit the back of the net. And not even 10 minutes later, Benjamin Šeško, for the third game in a row, converts a header from a Bruno Fernandes cross. Boom, 2-1 United. And fortunately, that's how things ended, with Aston Villa losing to Wolves on Friday 2-0 away. Manchester United now took over that third place spot with 51 points and a lead over Villa in goal differential. Few takeaways for me for the the Palace game on Sunday. Guys, look, we missed Patrick Dorgu. His width, the overlapping runs from Luke Shaw, it's just it's a big part of Luke Shaw's game when it's being taken away. Now, I don't have look, Mateus Cunha has played fantastic this season, a huge spark from the signing that he was over the summer. But he likes to pinch in a bit too much on the inside, leaving so much space over on the outside and a little bit more for Luke Shaw to have to, like, he can't mosey into that space because he has to now pick up the winger or the attacking wing back that Cunha is leaving because he likes to pinch inside. It works a lot of the time, but with Dorgu playing out on the left, he likes to stay out wide. And there you can see Luke Shaw, like I said, a big part of Luke Shaw's game come into play. Hopefully, Dorgu will be back sooner than later. I haven't heard much. I know he is back on the grass. We'll see how effective his training is and how fit he can become and get him back out on the pitch as soon as possible. We don't want to rush it, though. Right now, thankfully, United are looking fairly good. Well, Luke Shaw had to exit the game, and Nus Mazraoui came in for him. He took his place. Shaw had, speaking of Shaw, he had his foot stamped on, and it was fairly hard. He played on it for a few minutes after that, but he was forced to exit the game. And like I said, Mazraoui came in and took his place out on the left. Benjamin Sesko, proper number 9. Sina Lemons, a freaking gift from the football gods. Kobe Mainu. His job may not seem flashy and pretty, but he is so perfect for what Michael Carrick wants to do. Carrick has Bruno playing much higher up the pitch, creating chances, taking those risks. Casemiro, because of Kobe Mainu, Casemiro is free to get forward at times, take those risks. I'm beating a dead horse. He's still only 20 years old, and I assure you, he will be even more world class than he already is. It's just the players that he's playing with. Bruno Fernandes, like I said, Bruno going forward, taking those risks. You're not going to take Bruno out of that position. And Casemiro has just been so perfect in this Michael Carrick system with now the defense moving to a back four away from that back three. Casemiro has just really, really emerged over the last few weeks under the care of Michael Carrick. Now, it's a quick turnaround for the lads. Wednesday, the Red Devils will travel to St. James's Park to take on the 13th place Newcastle. Recent events for Newcastle. All right, strap in because boy, oh boy. So, last Tuesday, they secured Champions League knockout by defeating Qarabag. They are in the Azerbaijan Premier League. They beat them 3-2. Following that victory, the Magpies welcomed a very informed Everton to St. James's Park. Everton upset the Magpies 3-2. What a performance that game was from Jordan Pickford, but I digress. Now, continuing on this woe month for Aston Villa, or excuse me, for Newcastle. So, all right, we're going to make matters even worse because once again, Newcastle have drawn Barcelona in the Champions League, this time in the knockout stage, which begins next week. So, check out the next 5 games for the Magpies. Man United in the Premier League at home on the 4th of March. Man City at home in the FA Cup 5th round match on March 7th. Barcelona at home, Champions League round of 16, leg 1, March 10th. Chelsea at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League on March 14th. I mean, guys, what an absolute freaking disaster for Eddie Howe. All I got to say is good luck. Sheesh. I mean, what a run of games in, let's see, just 10 days. 10 days. Better Eddie Howe than Michael Carrick, that's for sure. Now, as for United, like we mentioned before, Luke Shaw injury could be a big blow. He was in great form, hoping it's nothing serious, but I do think Michael will continue with the 10 or 12 players that he's trusted since his quote unquote takeover. He's going to continue to lean on the likes of Brian Mbumo, continue to lean on the likes of Harry Maguire, Bruno Fernandez. I mentioned Matthias Cunha, Casemiro, Kobe Mainu, Lissandro Martinez. Unsure about his status. He picked up a calf injury in training about a week ago, but he was immediately back on the pitch training. Still uncertain about his return. Lenny Euro has done well in his absence. I mean, Euro is still 19, so plenty of time for him to get better. Times like this are perfect chance for that. What else? What else? Matthias de Ligt, according to Carrick, he is still not quite there. His back injury is just a bit worse than we continue to think and realize. Unsure what's going on there. Mason Mount back on the pitch, training on the grass. Mason should be back and ready to go anytime now, but that's not really saying much. Unfortunately, the last 24 to 36 months for Mason Mount have just been riddled with injuries. But real quick, before we get out of here, outgoings. Barcelona, it's official. They have made it clear they will sign Marcus Rashford to a permanent deal. United still, they're not budging on the $30 million asking price. Rumor has it Barca will pay the 30 million, but they'll pay it in installments of 10 million pounds. We'll see about that. I think it will come. They're going to try and lower that fee, but like I said, United have no reason to budge on that price one bit, considering what Marcus Rashford has been and what he has done for Hansi Flick in Barcelona this season. 30 million pounds will be scraps for him. Andre Onana reports saying he wants to return to United from his loan spell at Trabzonspor. Easy for me to say. Uh, Trabzon, yeah, and fight for his spot at United. I've got three words for you, Andre Onana. That ain't happening. Now, 10 matches left in this Premier League season for Manchester United. 51 points, sitting in third place. Look, finishing in the top four at this point in the season is a real possibility. Champions League is an absolute must for 2026, 2027. In so many ways, more than just qualifying and getting there. There's so many more reasons behind the scenes why qualification is so important. And when the time comes, I will elaborate on that. The remaining schedule for United is in their favor. They just have to keep going, have to keep fighting, and Europe will come. I'm almost certain of it. And you can bring that to the bank, if you will. Okay, so look, guys, it's about time for me to put a bow on this episode of the Drew Dickinson diatribe. Thank you so much for listening wherever you may be. I can't explain how much your support means. It really does mean everything. Be sure to follow Soccer Down Here wherever you get your podcasts. Tap that notification bell. Stay up to date with all things SDH. And of course, if you'd like, you can follow me on Instagram at Drewski Jr. 18. Enjoy the rest of your week. We will talk to each other on the other side. And as always, Drewski out.